Watch carefully. Watch how it happens. Not suddenly, not all at once, but brick by brick, layer by layer, wall by wall. See, society has this blueprint, this careful, precise design for building walls around men's hearts. It starts early, so early we don't even notice the foundation being laid. Boys don't cry. First brick, man up. Second brick, be strong. Third brick, and we learn. God, how we learn. To swallow tears before they fall. To hide pain before it shows. To bury fear before it speaks. It's in our DNA, you know. This need to protect. This drive to guard. This instinct to shield. Carved into our bones by centuries of being the ones who had to stand between danger and everything we loved. But here's the cruel irony. The more we try to protect now, the more we're told we're wrong. The more we try to guard, the more we're told we're toxic. The more we try to shield, the more we're told we're part of the problem. Society built us to be warriors, then called us dangerous for having armor. Built us to be protectors, then called us controlling for standing guard. Built us to be strong, then called us broken for not falling apart. Watch how the walls grow higher.
Tonight,
every time we reach out, only to be told we're reaching wrong. Every time we speak up, only to be told we're speaking wrong. Every time we try to care, only to be told we're caring wrong. The loneliness is deafening. In these walls, society built. In these spaces between what we are and what we're told we should be. In these gaps between our nature and society's new expectations. They want us vulnerable, but mock our vulnerabilities. Want us emotional, but only with the right emotions. Want us strong, but not with the strength we were taught. And as long as we stay quiet, as long as we don't rock the boat, as long as we don't speak about the walls closing in, we're not a threat. We're not a problem. We're not a concern. Just silent. Just isolated. Just alone. Watch how perfectly it works. How men gather in groups, talking about everything, except what's really hurting. How we joke and laugh and smile, while the walls grow thicker around each beating heart. Our protection instinct, it's not just about physical danger anymore. It's about protecting our families from financial storms, protecting our loved ones from emotional hurricanes, protecting our children from a world that seems to grow more chaotic every day. But the more we try to protect, the more we're told we're controlling. The more we try to provide, the more we're told we're oppressing. The more we try to care, the more we're told we're suffocating, and the walls grow higher. Society doesn't want protectors anymore, or rather it wants protection without acknowledging protectors. Wants strength without the strong. Wants safety without the guardians. So we learn to hide it, learn to mask it, learn to bury it deep behind these walls, That society so carefully built around our hearts. The loneliness echoes in these spaces, in the moments when the mask slips, in the nights when the walls feel too close, in the silence when we realize how many of us are suffering the same isolated fate. But here's what society forgot. When it was building these walls, men's hearts don't stop beating. Just because they're hidden, men's feelings don't stop flowing. Just because they're damned, men's souls don't stop yearning. Just because they're caged. We carry oceans inside these walls, entire storms behind these bricks, whole universes of feeling in these carefully contained spaces. And the pressure builds with every dismissed concern, with every mocked emotion, with every ridiculed pain, with every ignored cry for help. Society built these walls, thinking they would contain us, control us, quiet us, but they forgot something crucial. Walls don't just keep things in, they also keep things out, like understanding, like empathy, like connection. And in this isolation, in this carefully constructed solitude, men are not becoming less. We're becoming hidden, not becoming weaker. We're becoming quiet, not becoming safer. We're becoming invisible. Until we're not. Until the walls crack. Until the pressure breaks. Until the pain spills. And then society asks, why didn't he say something? Why didn't he reach out? Why didn't he ask for help? As if they didn't lay every brick. As if they didn't mix the mortar. As if they didn't design the blueprint for these walls around our hearts. Watch how perfectly it works. How we become exactly what society fears by trying to be exactly what society demands. How we become isolated by trying to connect. How we become silent by trying to speak. How we become invisible by trying to be seen. The protector's paradox. The more we try to guard, the more we're told we're threatening. The more we try to shield, the more we're told we're shadowing. The more we try to care, the more we're told we're controlling. So we build our own walls now. Inside the one society built, layer upon layer of protection, not from external threats, but from the very world we're trying to protect. And as long as we stay quiet, as long as we don't speak of these walls, as long as we don't acknowledge this pain, we're not a threat to the status quo, not a danger to the system, not a problem to be solved. Just men behind walls, carrying oceans, containing storms, hiding universes. Watch how society builds these walls. Watch how carefully they're constructed. Watch how perfectly they work, until they don't. Because here's what they never considered. Every wall can be broken. Every brick can be removed. Every foundation can be shaken. Not by force, not by anger, not by violence, but by truth, by speaking, by connecting, one crack at a time, one word at a time, one heart at a time. Watch how society built these walls. Then watch how we'll tear them down. Not to destroy, not to threaten, not to frighten, but to finally let our hearts beat in the open air again. Because here's what happens when walls finally fall, when men finally speak their long-held truths, when protectors finally show their battle scars, when warriors finally reveal their tender hearts. Society will have to face what it has built, what it has buried, what it has tried to contain. The strength they feared, it was never about dominance. The protection they resisted, it was never about control. The power they contained, it was never about oppression. It was always about love, about care, about connection. Watch how society built these walls, thinking they were containing a threat, when all along they were just imprisoning the very thing they needed most. Men's capacity to love deeply, to feel completely, to connect authentically. And when these walls finally fall, when these hearts finally speak, when these souls finally connect, that's when real change begins. That's when real healing starts. That's when real strength emerges. Not from isolation, but from connection. Not from silence, but from truth. Not from walls, but from bridges. Watch how society built these walls. Then watch how love tears them down. Listen to the sound of crumbling walls, of falling barriers, of breaking chains. Because every man who speaks creates a crack. Every truth shared weakens the foundation. Every heart opened shakes these prison walls. We're not a threat when we're silent. Maybe that's exactly why we need to speak, need to roar, need to let our hearts thunder against these walls until they crumble. Because the real threat isn't in our strength. It isn't in our power. It isn't in our protection. The real threat is in the truth that men can be both strong and gentle, both powerful and nurturing, both protective and vulnerable. And when that truth breaks free, when these walls finally fall, when these hearts finally beat in the open air, that's when society will see what they tried to contain. Not a threat to be feared, but a force to be embraced. Not a danger to be controlled, but a strength to be celebrated. Not a problem to be solved, but a gift to be treasured. Watch how society built these walls. Then watch how truth and love tear them down. One heart at a time, one voice at a time, one man at a time, until we all stand free. In the light of understanding, in the warmth of connection, in the strength of authenticity. This is how walls fall. This is how hearts heal. This is how men rise. Not in silence, but in truth. Not in isolation, but in unity. Not in fear, but in love. And that's just the beginning.